Chairman, I believe we have all of them on the line now.
Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you, Honorable Vice Chair.
Okay,
Walker.
great.
You.
Good morning. Good morning.
Honorable Daniels? Honorable Daniels? Honorable Freeland?
Here.
Okay, Honorable Begay?
Chairman Kellen's here.
Okay, good. Okay, it's none. It is currently 8:30. 8:30 a.m. We'll call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum. Ms. Begay, could you provide the roll call, please?
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. This is your roll call for your regular meeting of April 28, 2021 at 8 a.m. Ricky Nass.
I'm here.
Wilson Stewart Jr.
Here.
Thomas Walker Jr.
I'm present.
Herman M. Daniels.
Morning here.
Mark A. Freeland.
Good morning here.
K. Allen Begay Jr.
Good morning. Kellen's present.
Mr. Chair, you have all 6 members present, and it constitutes a quorum for you to conduct your meeting today.
Thank you very much, Ms. Begay. I'd like to ask Honorable Herman Daniels.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I don't know what to I think Behoten, the need I could do for the Sekodo. I don't think could do washing what it is. I handwash it. Yeah, hon should be in Lane Hona. Yeah, hon Shaman Hassan. Yeah, hon Johanna Eshutra. Craigie Hana or Anigi, I see here Hona. I don't know where. Now, National is net each Hona. Just a Hona Shond or less Hona. I don't know Kodo. Not for Kodo a Mishitafish Sol Nanakodo. I don't let Banda without Iligi. I don't know. I don't not for Belanda be or Leslie the Hona. 80 Hona. Just a Hona Shond or less Hona. I don't kiss. I used to teach the Hona here, Ben is a Hona Shond or less yet, yet here. Sadia that Eggy Ben is a Hona Shond or less Hona. I do yet help so whole cough. Ada Ben is a Hona Shond or less Hona. I don't know who do. Measure do less none Hona. I don't know. I say could do a could do the night be cast on Nana. Could do a get out these don't Hona. So that what is a Hona Joe Gasol. We answer the case of the other level louder. It's the case of the Hona. I don't know, Sabe, just hear the Hona. So the other, because it has killed the Sabe has it 6 Hona, Sada has it. The net of it, the Sada has it. Or you have Geld has it. 80 Hona and Randa the doctor, the Hona. Who has a head or less Hona, I don't know Hona. Got a Hona, measure Nana dollars Hona. A quarter, each Nana, Hana or Taniki Hona. I don't know if card or not is card I wish. What $8 Hona. Get a Hona $4 which Hona. I don't know Hona. Hick 8 and La Hona. 8 Hona. Also, but had you buy a Hona. A street of sunny. Laid and has trad Hona. The dash from a trajoga. The Nuzant Hona. I've been on a state there. Bed out the Senegi Bands at the case of Hona. 8 comes down a $4 Hona, but I had your bias to the funny. Bed a hospital Hona. No better nail fill. Hona and 10 hashing for a little dark. Donna Yaga dash till Hona. 80 Hona comes down a $4 leach Hona. The Habada Hoshi Hona. I don't know Hashina. 8 Hona. Hashing for a 19. The Tlado had a hard tail to Hona, the Tlado it how a Hona. A chin, a dash is a cheat to Hona. Betrado nantian hashin so nice deal le hona. I don't know yes or no yes or street le sani day le hona. Betrado nantian hashin so ada len halan le hona. Elchenen lenigi. Kwaltra bah je elchen hot. Hashin so elchen hon hotsen ho. Benil zilna halan ho stva bah did elchen donana. A street on sani lenigi. Coco da what is Holla's next ego. Holla. No. Is as for Honke, but Patraiti Honit, Lona to I, Janesh is a Hona, Holla. I tried Hollonigi, a cotty, I was a passing to Hollon or feel at all less. Jordan to the case of Hona. Salchen hasn't thought I bet just his hon. Even a year got nothing. The snow echo, they just his hon. I hot edo less again, Steny hon. Nahaba hashing a year go hon. I swap behind the lenigi. I don't give a try on it, Lonigis to hon. Nahada hajo by a hon. Do I ask for the way need ed hon, the dash for the hon. And for a case the abba or the land. Fee cost the hon, I yield piece the hon. Let the abba or adolescent Sahit the hon, let yoy neck hon, or dead la hon. Mahada hoshi hon, Arn Hashin dan la ash for hon. Nick ate the crack hon. Con hike of cargo Arnal logo, kin hadas agon hik ate the craco. Mahabada hoshi hon, his last soda. Mahabada hoshi hon ash for hon, the dosha do dago. Aron his lad hon, Ada but a job by a hon. But you about me the whole hon, but then chingy the whole hon. Mahabada hoshi hon, wait, Yaso hon. Aronan hik is a vel in the house, honey the hon. Mahabasta on a shoulder less hon, her ishi get out in the house, tahona. A hon adi john, bada hadis, don't have nada hido kahona. Aronan hon. Nahashina. At how is Ago hot Eshin in the road, Janesh or the Hona. But I drove by a Hona, or yeah, but is the gent that we aid the Hona. Aid the Hona of the Hona shoulderless. A co a yo by Nessa Hona or that egg. Or at aid the Hon should get a machine Hona. We came his better house than Hona. At the Hodo niche, aid his better house than hard, the shin Hodo niche. The Scardonan is not the Nachid Hodo niche, and he his better husband. Sitting in the machine, he keep a neat target on his husband. Other Assad Haljan or door niche eight on his husband. A cane wood he didn't his husband's honor, but what aid la honor. Get a honor son had a hoshia. Adonan and I'll gloss that a honor. Could all come to them, baby, a sleep honor. Clothing she did a honor. She dark, Becashin dark, the best. Live the hona, they cast a hona. I don't know, Sashin, when they ask the hon, they don't have but on a short or less hona. But I drop by as the hona. I don't want to say that, get it that, it urge hashing property in the hona, but I have the hona. So I hona. So they send all less, I don't want not the hona. They got the house, there's, was all was a doubt, it's a hona, one not. Hon hitten hona, hik eden la hona. Jels gehad sin stabagan hona. Eda hona, jad ego hona, stabagan dolles, jad ego hasida hona. Prepare dan la hona. Homa bigedo naza. Vechada hadat edan la hona skisudate, adonana hona. Sedash nedadate hona. It is saying that and Juno I hon nada slad or leshona. Juno I have a conada shit or Juno hona, but nada card or leshona. What the hona, sha a hon, because I don't eat or less load of the way had it edan lahon, bed than lahona. Ada hon Juno nada slad or leshona. Ado hona, or lash art ellen lahona. Or lemon lahona, but I had job by a lahona. a job ba nekle hona so dal zama da hona na o ka da hona ero shab da hona so dole aro na hon ke hada te yeje na o ka get le hona da hada shi yosh kala da na o kala hona ero hona Native American Church aja hona ze be na aja hona ero aja be odla yosenegi shab da hona so dole stage aro kan tin da helt so hona an lede hashin so in khanel yan la hona bin da ilte da la hona aja hona odla yoseni da hona ero shab da hona so dole hona da hi host ego dola oho dola tisko hona da hi host shab da hona so dole shaba da hin dole hona alla han so hona bitin hi da hona so dole hona och för den get ju hon då det hon när det sätter na ada hon så det är shit hon dastla den hon så ben dastla det hon I don't know hon det hade inte hon vi ska ha något så då liksom kan något check och det hon så det är något släng hon så stanna så snart med den hon så snart så det så I don't know det då går det ben så all att hon så snart med det hon I don't know att hon så att hade sin hon det har stide och hade sin hon det har det hon det är han så då det sin så att och det är så det då det hon allt för det hon har hot shit då det hon det är den hon hittar det kan ju så det I don't know hon har något shit I don't know hon är men he doesn't need to you så ju med hon vi är inte kan det bli vi hon allt hon inte så har då det hon är det hon jag sneden hon vi är så har då det hon för så nästan då det för så nästan thank you chair.
Honorable Daniels, thank you very much. I say here, Ashin, Nihi Hadahil, Doto Yat Eho. Nsahakation Lini Korobe, Nhat Abe, Yel Kito Lefty, Benabi, Sehan Sago. Kashan Nas Nanoshan and announcement session here, Hanoshan and Ms. Begay, do you have any announcements? You may have to push *6.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, just a reminder, letting you know that you have scheduled travel to go to Colorado Ranch beginning Thursday. And your return travel will be on Sunday, May 2nd, I believe it was. And just letting you know that Department of Fish and Wildlife staff has already traveled up to the ranch to prepare for your arrival. And I sent you copies of the itinerary and the activities that is going to happen out there. So you should have all of that information. Just make sure that you have your TA in place. And otherwise, that is the only meeting that, the only travel that I have for you. And our next regular meeting will be on May 5th. Thus far, we haven't scheduled any other meetings for the month of May. Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Thank you very much, Ms. Begay. Honorable members of RDC, do you have any announcements?
Mr. Chair, this is Advocate Daniels.
Honorable Daniels, you have the floor, sir.
Yes, good morning again. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, colleagues, Resources and Development Committee, staff, so that is state on Wolf Springs Ranch in Colorado. I won't be able to travel up there tomorrow. I have with Utah, the 7 counties infrastructure coalition. They County commissioners and Lenigi from San Juan County Donana Nagada, Grand County, Garfield County, St. Pete County, that Eggy, St. Adam had Kakodo, and they see how they get into his net or less Kokodo. I don't think we're going to do a tour in a way down. We're going to go across the Paiute Canyon, go on top of the Paiute Mesa, and I don't think a teeny good. I should get the whole year. It's in these either let's so tomorrow I'll be out in not just on chapter. I don't know on a Friday I have Shanto, a strategic session at the least as a snow go on a great purpose based on them no taggy. A codo it have been guest edited these no codo. So I was on Saturday I believe we're gonna have a regional meeting at Ecuador, but I have a husband the AD Ecuador, so it's on his husband. So I won't be able to go to West Springs with the organization and understand Ecuador. I would be without Kelsey Diego, and that I think Ecuador. I think call to Ecuador not that Ecuador. So safety that is included. Maybe he needs it all less for the because of Mr. Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Daniels. Honorable members of RDC, any other announcements? We have our Navigatia work session today as well, for your information. Since there's none, we'll go down to recognizing guests and visiting officials. Introductions for everyone today, starting with honorable members of RDC. Vice Chair Walker.
Yes, Chairman, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. This is Thomas Walker Jr. calling in from Western Navajo Agency. I represent Coal Mine, Cameron, Loop, Tulani Lake, and City chapters out here. Ado don and shinigi ya shin shin beat ton bashin what's something to say that it don't say this Disney it doesn't naleko kuyate resource development committee members ich da will lesen da teacher porque on gestahzen na nesi you cut each shisha the legislation that Navajo has siege Ajabaquin that I don't know report a coditi I see the Nebana Shagi bit that dead isn't the bar this season so in the Ajiba. The did I did ego on the Nielsen committee. I don't say it. Not the model, go hold the Chicago. The coho, Edo Shabaquinoson or a Habaquinixon, a Kodat Egonanch, a dig indication and Darko, a coho, what Edo, Shagway, Shaho Agi, Arnold Sonana, yet then.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chair Walker. Honorable Stewart. Honorable Stewart.
Hey, yeah, I'm here.
Go ahead.
Trying to find my little screen. Good morning, Shania, Chair, Dosh, Vice Chair, Dosh, Shania, Kel. Aro, Shmaya, Kel, Aro, Kodois Notes, I gave this morning, Jaya Wilson, C. Stewart Jr., and Chiado, Kodo, Tel, so then, Kodo, question this morning for the RDC meeting. And what's on the age, don't understand, scratching, a passion, scratching in the shade, between the Chanel and represent 4 chapters, so the big health sheet, once they don't need jade, the best ones and Kodo RDC committee, a for defines agency, a representation for the committee.
Thank you, Honorable Stewart. Honorable Daniels.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Should add Ecuador, Herman M. Daniels Jr. A says Ecuador, Adon and Slendy A. But Atney, Ado inte kille chini da shje. Så het lini da shje. Na kaita neda I da shje ho. Ado nana ashka hat ho pe da shnale ho. Da kushi shke da ida ne ko. Wa da ida menschlen ko. Ado nana na re ol jet ho. Sha to ho. Fabi kin. Na to ane banasha ho. Banash na shlo. Ado nana kadona re. Isi na shage dan. Isi na shado in reda. Reda shimi to ha ho. So San Juan County. Ado isi na shago. Reda gum hill the hashnita ado. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Daniels. Honorable Freeland.
Good morning, Chairman, colleagues, Nothinigi. Suje Mark Freeland na Seattle, Nothinigi Tutoni Snowda Key on Suje, Sanjay Kinda Suchera, Senate additionally. I represent 8 chapters out of Eastern Navajo. I'm also the Eastern Navajo representative on RDC. Crown Point, Dona, just the Santee, White Rock, Lake Valley, Herfano, and Nayeze. Thank you for the call this morning, Chairman, and let's have a great meeting, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Freeland. Honorable Key Allen Begay Jr.
Save the best for last, Chair. Good morning, Chair. Kudo Shitadjet. Hana his national key ani the Shajab, Tani the Chiado, this Chine, the Shanale. 5 chapters that I represent Low Mountain, Kachibu Gap, Nalzini, Salani Cottonwood, and Mini Farm, did I Kudosh and on this instance. So here had a Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Begay. Shidadze. Save the best for last. She Rick Mays in Shia. Don't want sun and snow. Zay touchy, the bushes chains and habit and dash a chedo can't on it. Dashamella. Lay Kodego, the bench be ye de go ish, the San Juan chapter, the Hasna. Aro e gesa. Naya. Hastago chapters Monash, Nashigi, etc. on those San Juan, Chestnut on it, and the destination. Nina Hunza, the Olik 8 East Wasakadot, East and the Skij, Yat Ben Arnold Skodokia. Honorable members of the 24th Council, Chairman Otto. Star 6, Otto.
Good morning, everyone. Ik ben Otto So, that's Jana. Aron na kaid na toihet linin shle. Aro na nish as trap maha ibas shin do nakat na dash che. Do tsna jini dash na no hit I nanch ni do honest is it a bishwan an a ade banasha. I represent the Tiba City district delegate region. Akoho AD hot thank you for being on the line. Go unmute Chinata.
Thank you, Honorable. So RDC staff, Ms. Shami Begay.
Good morning again, Mr. Chair and members of the committee, and also the people that are listening to our meeting. Shami Begay in Shedo. Na kaiden Angela de Betlejan, but she's chained to my day that she chained Hachini, day that she not allowed eyes and today I'm in the office and again, thank you, Shiaj Herman Daniels, for the beautiful prayer. Thank you, RDC members, for calling in, and I really appreciate all of the members to be calling in and participating in our meeting, every meeting that we have thus far. Mr. Chair, members of the committee, back to you.
Thank you, Ms. Begay. Ms. Teresa Whitty.
Good morning, Chair and RDC members. Nikito Anna Skoyat Epene. Shea Teresa Whitty at the Janedon Le Huyete Go Steamboat, Arizona, Ade in Nasha. A court or a RDC Betlandashnish. Trapaha and Short Betlejan, a Bashish Chinkia, Anne, that she chair dots and a Jenny Edisonale. A hot or in each and has to see the lately penny be yeah, though he had, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Ms. Whitty. I don't got it here. Ms. Khan.
Oh, yad edeneshik yad Resources and Development Committee members, do yad beshbanta sa anigi danoflenigi hehe ntago shiaj na hasodinzen eba henesen. Mariana Khan dashajene tor yed leaning isle but ani bashish chin dashachegi yad asche tenjikina dashanale. DJ Taraho Zonadan Hitch Aunt Besh Behashnet. A here Nahashi so Kaigo da Easins Ado Ada Horia. Mr. Chair, back to you.
Miss Khan. There you are. And I'm not going to get what I should not get at Koroe, the Nessa at the Nen Lingo, Nere. I would like to introduce an individual from Kayenta, the new BIA Regional Director, Acting Regional Director, BIA the Amnesty Gishin Corona Nishbebet all Zin Lindo Lesto Koro Nache introduce it at least up in the Hitch the Hodol Zin. Ako dishi nare kenda nahalkede Washington D.C. the BIA that has added the Amnesty Trust Services Office the she you see go yen the kinko bananish la gishin. That's what he's bringing to the table to the Navajo Nation, the great Navajo Nation. She could all but this nail nashido lestida Mr. Frank Holiday. Mr. Holiday, you have the floor to introduce yourself, sir. Push *6.
Okay. Yeah, that's been asked. She Frank Holiday, yeah. 20 inch. Hascato. Ipashin. But I need that she. Ado na shai to nesjeti sije o je to the naga shmai ado thihi kha ta tasne west of Kayenta. Just wanted to share with you that this is my first time as the acting region director, as Honorable Ms. has indicated that I am as Associate Deputy Bureau Director for Trust Services with the Bureau of Indian Affairs out of Washington, D.C. My focus in that area is as Trust Services. So all the programs that are included are natural resources, Indian Energy Service Center, real estate services, forestry, irrigation, dams, power projects, federal power compliance, probate, to name a few. So anyhow, I'm happy to be back at home and looking forward to working with you all. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Holiday. We'll be glad to work with you. Next, BIA, Ms. Cheryl Curley.
Chairman Nez, RDC members, Ms. Begay, Cheryl Curley, BIA Tribal Liaison.
Thank you. From Navajo Nation Oil and Gas CEO, Mr. James Mcclure. Mr. Leonard L. Sosi.
Yes, Chairman. This is James Mcclure. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, James Mcclure, CEO of Navajo Nation Oil and Gas. I'm calling you today from Bryan, Texas. Thanks for all the delegates and Honorable Chairman for convening this meeting today, and we look forward to highlighting the agenda item in as much detail and answering questions you might have. So thank you for allowing me to speak today.
Thank you, Mr. El Sosi. Anybody from DOJ? Anybody from Division of Natural Resources? Anybody who would like to introduce themselves?
Good morning, Chair. This is Philford from OPVP. I'll be listening.
Mr. Philford, thank you, sir. Anybody else? None? Okay, none.
Morning, Mr.
Number
Chair.
3.
Tyson Ramon with Smith Lake Chapter, Secretary Treasurer, listening in.
Thank you. Number 3 on the agenda. Ms. Begay, could you read the agenda, please?
Mr. Chair and members of the committee, Resource Development Committee of the 24th Navajo Nation Council teleconferencing RDC regular meeting, April 28, 2021, 8 a.m. agenda. Presiding, Ricky Nash, Chairperson, Thomas Walker Jr., Vice Chairperson. 1, calling meeting to order, roll call, invocation announcement. 2, recognizing guests and visiting officials. 3, reviewing and approving the agenda. 4, reviewing and approving the journals, none. 5, receiving reports, none. 6, old business, none. 7, new business. A, legislation 0074-21. It's an action relating to approving an amendment 1 to the Desert Creek operating agreement between the Navajo Nation and Navajo Nation Oil and Gas Company. 8, conclusion of committee meeting, other announcement and adjournment. Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Thank you, Ms. Begay. Honorable members of RDC would like to establish a motion and a second.
Chairman Keown.
Honorable Begay, second by
Stewart.
Honorable Stewart. Thank you. Any questions, comments on the agenda, Shananta?
Mr. Chair, this is Delegate Daniels.
Honorable Daniels, you have the floor, sir.
Yes, thank you very much, good Chair. Members of the RDC, good Arunana to the motion parties, good up the dead kennel. I think good I see here, good up. I don't go on the great the other day. I sent an email to Kodona Great Chair Arun the Kodona Great staff so requesting for a leadership meeting with San Juan County, Utah Ziki, and San Juan County Commissioner regarding roads within the San Juan County area with on the reservation. Leadership meeting. Mr. Chair, thank you.
Honorable Daniels, would you like to make a motion to amend the agenda for Amendment 1 to add under new business B to schedule the leadership meeting?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll do that amendment. Motion to amend make an amendment. Mr. Chair, thank you.
Honorable members of RDC, there's a motion for Amendment 1 to add the San Juan County, Utah leadership meeting. Could I like to have a second? Scheduled. Is there a second? Honorable members of RDC?
Chairman Keown.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Begay. There's a motion by Honorable Daniels to amend the agenda. Amendment 1 to add San Juan County roads for leadership meeting. Second by Honorable Keelan Begay Jr. Any questions? None. Well, Honorable Freeland, how do you vote?
Green, Chairman.
Thank you. Honorable Stewart?
Green.
Honorable Begay?
Chairman Keel votes green. Thank you.
Honorable Vice Chair Walker?
Chairman, I vote green.
Honorable Daniels?
I vote green.
We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting, motion carries. We'll add this to the agenda. Any other comments or questions or amendments? Then, yeah, Kushida, we'll go back to the main motion. I'm sorry. Yes, we will go back to the main motion now. We just amended the agenda to add San Juan County roads and schedule the leadership meeting under new business B. So we'll go back to the main motion. And any other questions or comments? None. Honorable Freeland, how do you vote, sir?
Green.
Honorable Stewart?
Green.
Honorable Begay? Honorable Begay? Honorable Vice Chair Walker?
I vote in favor.
Thank you. Honorable Daniels?
I vote green.
Honorable Begay? We have a
Dalby
vote
Keel
of
votes green. Thank you.
We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting. Motion carries. We adopted the agenda with one addition. Reviewing and approving journals. Number 4, there's none. Number 5, receiving reports, none. Number 6, old business, none. Number 7, new business. A, legislation 0074-21. Sponsor, Honorable Chairman Otto So. Ms. Begay, could you read this into the record, please?
Hold on. You have legislative summary sheet for tracking number 0074-21. The date on it is April 12th, 2021. Title of the resolution and proposed nomination council resolution and action relating to resource development, Nabagia committees and nomination council. Approving an amendment number 1 to the Desert Creek operating agreement between the Navajo Nation and Navajo Nation Oil and Gas Company. The purpose of this legislation is to approve Amendment 1 to the Desert Creek operating agreement between the Navajo Nation and Navajo Oil and Gas. This legislation is assigned to Resource Development, Nabagia Committee, and Navajo Nation Council until it, I believe, okay, the prime sponsor of the legislation is Otto So. Again, this is an action approving amendment number 1 to Desert Creek operating agreement between the Navajo Nation and Navajo Nation Oil and Gas. Under findings, I'm going to read section 2 findings. On page 1 of 3, line 27, section 2 findings. A, the Navajo Nation is blessed with abundant energy resources. B, historically, these resources are leased to non-Navajo entities, and Navajo Nation benefit appropriately from the development of these resources, but hope to include Navajo entities and also benefiting from the development of those resources. C, in 1998, the Navajo Nation Council addressed this crucial matter by ratifying unanimously the Federal Charter of Incorporation, the Navajo Nation Oil and Gas Company, NOG, a wholly owned Navajo Nation corporation organized under Section 17 of the Indian Reorganization Act as amended, 25 USC Section 5124, formerly 25 USC Section 477, the Resolution CF 2298, and subsequently amended such charter to ensure experience. Corporate leadership, see Resolution number CO 40-15. D, one of NOG's principal objective assigned by the Navajo Nation Council has been to regain for the Navajo Nation minerals land that have been leased to others so that those resources could be developed, the life of the resource extended, and the Navajo Nation take part in the risks and rewards of being a part of the energy business. NOG has done so, acquiring the partners' lands formerly leased to Chevron, Texaco, Exxon Mobil, and other companies, investing over $390 million of NOG's own proceeds in the acquisition and development of the Aneth and other oil fields within the Navajo Nation, reversing the decline in oil and gas production on the Navajo Nation through those investments and managing and growing its successful business that the Navajo Nation owns. E, NOG acquired Desert Creek Operating Agreement number NOG 1302-1775, attached hereto as Exhibit B, on January 24, 2013. That was the effective date. The operating agreement provision of which provide for a primary development term which expires 10 years after the effective date, and the secondary term which expires 22 years after the effective date. F, to further develop the Desert Creek lease, a seismic survey was concluded in September of 2019, and further processing, evaluation, and interpretation has been ongoing. NOG and its partners are currently drafting 4 applications for permits to drill for submission to appropriate Navajo Nation and federal agency. F, until now, NOG has been able to conduct certain exploration and development activities in the Desert Creek lease due to reason beyond the control of current management. NOG's ability to hedge has suspended in June 2014, and the price of crude oil then declined steeply in November 2014. NOG has not been able to recover financially from the bank's action until June 14, 2018, when it entered into a new loan agreement with the GUGCOM partners that replaced the loan with its former bank consortium headed by Wells Fargo Bank. H, there is a markable reserve of oil and gas within the area covered by the Desert Creek Operating Agreement that it would be beneficial to the Navajo Nation and NOG if NOG would perform the necessary seismic study and produce these reserves. It is the desire of NOG and the best interest of NOG and the Navajo Nation to develop the Desert Creek lease. An extension of the primary and secondary term of the operating agreement is set forth in Amendment number 1 to operate attached hereto as Exhibit A, which is necessary to achieve this objective. The Executive Official Review Document number 015074 is attached as Exhibit C. So Exhibit A is the operating agreement is attached to the packet as well as the other exhibits that are referencing the content of the legislation. And the packet was posted on the council website on April 14, 2021. And 5-day comment period ended on April 19, 2021. There is no comments received. Mr. Chair and members of the committee, back to you.
Ms. Begay, do you need to read section 3?
I could do that, Mr. Chair. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Section 3 is approval and authorization. A, the nomination hereby approves the amendment number 1, Exhibit A of the operating agreement between the nomination and Nomination Oil and Gas Company for the Desert Creek area, contract number NO-G-1301-1775. B, the nomination authorizes the president of the nomination to execute any and all documents necessary to effect the intent and purpose of this resolution. Mr. Chair and members of the committee, this legislation will eventually be read into the record at nomination council as well. Mr. Chair, back to you.
Thank you, Ms. Begay. Honorable members of RDC, let's establish a motion and a second. Honorable members of RDC.
Motion, Stewart.
Honorable Stewart, second by. Is there a second? Going once. Going twice. Honorable members of RDC, are you on the line? Are you having technical difficulties?
Mr. Chair, I'll second for questions.
Thank you, Honorable Daniels, for that. Chairman Otto, so you have the floor, sir.
Good morning, members of Resources and Development Committee. Otto, Oyo, committee members. I see Resources and Development Committee. Behaz ani the legislation that our staff, my sister Shami Gay, she read the legislation 0074-21 into the record for purpose of the legality of the process. Alcohol did bahas ani di kodo shige ya Navajo Nation Oil and Gas. It's a Navajo tribal enterprise that is that the Navajo Nation Council has formulated in 1998. And federal charter federal charter ben national Washington de بتسين شكلجي اي اجي يخلي بهز اني بتسين شكلجي اي يا اتخ اي يا بنان نش اي دو اللي خنيغو اي اجي تخسر section 17 اي اج بيادو اي بيبلا ازلين ايرون دا اي يا دنب بنان اي يا اد اي resolution اي لا ازلين resolution number CF-2298 ako ade nas hote shije ya the kwego shibichi did the Navajo Nation oil and gas later oyonat nahat shni later behz ani akahta hazli hoto ni tohshten ya and the federal government wanted a lease be established so the exploration of oil and gas could move forth in the 20s. And that is the reason why and how the first Navajo Nation Council was put in place. Alcohol, our resources, the hodloniki, ya dashin sago, ya, baka, at koko, bitsado, whether it's oil, coal, gas, so forth. When they extract the oil, these natural resources, which comes in forms of royalties and in taxes to the Navajo Nation. Alcohol, yati de alcohol, de ade yade go by his ani so alcohol Beshma has an 80 Ennis Desert Creek lease. He had not sleep 2000 February 23rd 2012. Beshma has an so ziki alcohol Beshma an Navajo Nation oil and gas to regain for the Navajo Nation mineral lands that had been leased to others. The Navajo Washington, the Shinle de Hod, the Show Question Yaich Yab Kayahiki, the question not like Yad leaves Yeti Koko, the according to this lease, a for net. Ako ya atkahabot ko beshmas ani ako ho ya benina koko ya ate January exhibit B didn't he kasit behas ani kasit so zige ate ya effective date in January 24th 2013 ate beta nish alcohol that initial Neznana Hegope Las name, and I believe the expiration date of that lease, the current lease, is going to expire in 2022. Alcohol Kai Hata Chipe Anigi hold just alcohol Neznana ya Ye alcohol ya ade hold unforeseen circumstances that Navajo Nation oil and gas went through throughout the years. Alcohol Asian aja the oil and gas ita ajan nahati queso tahato Ako eya kadishji gedashin sabo kita huishito nahatike ita the company was not in really good financial stance to really invest resources into this particular field. Ako kadishji ya and it doesn't create a man at all need for all the 80 cut lease. So again, this current lease has a 10-year tenureship. Ako in the amendment request, yeah, lease iki kaset so the question na ashlatna binato zo to change the term of that lease of NO-G-13 or 1301-175. That lease term to change it from 10 years to amend it to 15 years. Navajo Nation Oil and Gas is in a better position to make investments to this field so that we can continue to move forth. Late in 1998, that not Fishman's to continue to move forth and get a hold of these fields that were previously leased out to non-Navajo entities. Ako Desert Creek extension amendment adult need for ako in this amendment request, we are requesting that the lease term to be amended from 10 years to 15 years and also changing the dates in the agreement from on Article 3.2 of the amendment agreement is amended by changing 22 years to 27 years in the fourth line thereof. Akoko kwake amendment iki unique nan alcohol ashdana to kodo dato kodoni kodo it's going to go to Navigation Committee. I don't know if alcohol shinan Resources and Development Committee. These natural resources with that, I'm gonna. I have two of my agents on the line. Leonard L. Sosi, Navajo Oil and Gas Board President and the CEO of the Navajo Nation Oil and Gas Company, James Mcclure. Well, at this time, Chairman, I'm going to turn some time over to Leonard L. Sosi, the Chairman of the Board of the Navajo Nation Oil and Gas.
9 minutes and 30 seconds left, Mr. El Sosi. Mr. El Sosi. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, then
although certainly we do appreciate the committee, Resource and Development Committee, to allow us to present. So with that, I'm going to defer the time over to Mr. Mcclure. We do appreciate your support. Thank you.
Yes, Chairman Nez, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Mcclure.
Okay, great. Well, thanks to the Honorable Otto So for reading that material into the record. Just want to I know we have a brief amount of time, so I just want to get straight to the point. Really, the issue is at hand. Just given there was a tenure there of NOG having some financial difficulties as an organization, and it was not capable at that time to move forward through the exploration term. After 2018, and when we refinanced our loan at that time with Guggenheim, we were given the ability to move forward and shoot seismic over the Desert Creek field. That was concluded in September of 2019. There were identified at that time several prospects that the company and our partner in Denver, ST Oil, would like to pursue. Unfortunately, what we are concerned with, and the reason for this request, is that the time to complete all of our drilling activity, we fear might exceed the existing primary term of the lease. So that's why we're requesting a 5-year extension to the primary term. That is Article 3.1 of the existing operating agreement. What that'll allow us to do is there's 4 prospects that we want to pursue initially. We currently have drilling permits progressing through the Navajo Nation approval process at this time, and are hopeful that we can drill those 4 wells over the next year. We have other prospects that are contingent upon the success of these 4 that we would want to consider in the future beyond 2023, when the lease, January 2023, when the current operating agreement expires. That's one issue. The other issue is referenced in Article 3.2 of the Exhibit A. That is the production term. The current production term expires in January of 2024, and we are proposing a 5-year extension to that, and the reason being is really understood in some of the historical production from the Desert Creek field. The Desert Creek field was discovered in 1954, and there is one well that continues to produce. That's over 65 years of production. So our hope is that we will drill our first 4 prospects and be able to find success and have as long as lived wells as what we've currently seen. If that were to occur, however, that would exceed the current term of the operating agreement. So that's why we were requesting not only 5-year addition to the primary exploration term, but also a 5-year extension to the production term. I think in summary, the reason that Minerals Department and NOG have worked through this, and we feel the Minerals Department has been supportive of this extension, is that if we're successful, our current view is that the royalties generated for the Navajo Nation could exceed $5 million per year in the first year of production. And so it is our hope that the RDC will support us in the extension of the primary exploration term and the production term, and then we can conclude this with a revised operating agreement. Thank you, Chair, for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Mcclure. Honorable members of RDC, do you have any comments or questions? Honorable members of RDC?
Chairman Gale.
Honorable Begay, you have the floor.
It's just I guess for requesting for formality, a lot of time we're given updated through legislation legislation we get some update on some of these areas that were the oversight. If we're trying to read through some of these legislation and that we don't know anything beforehand about it, and I believe that we just need to get a thorough understanding of what the legislation is. Not just only Navajo Nation oil and gas, but others. Maybe just do I don't know if I've missed a day when Navajo Nation oil and gas had made a report that this is coming forth through legislation, making a report to the RDC. Because it's going before NABI and then it's going before the Navajo Nation Council. I'm not sure if Kadosh brother is sponsoring legislation because he is one of the, I believe that he's one of the shareholder. Legislation gives sponsor. Otherwise, it would have been, I mean, a lot of time I always say, and I know any delegate is have every right to sponsor a legislation. So a lot of time, what ego sato, ben hitanal shunsan sato. Lit our oversight committee did that a legislation to sponsor that's later. That's it, but don't know another delegate that's in now, but don't need to have no. Joe quite geeky, baby, not being such case, ben nago, but abahasi that any and all legislation that pertains to RDC, there should be a thorough presentation, maybe as a report or given notice to the RDC in writing that this is coming forth in a legislation format for us to continue to evaluate or review on these particular legislations. Again, then the other area is that a lot of time we're kind of like being pushed or pressured to act on a legislation as a motion or second. Maybe there's a reason why committee members don't need to make a motion or second as well. I think that's an understanding that we have to have in place as well. Just because that is in our authority, that doesn't necessarily mean that we have no choice but to make a motion or make a second. I won't be pressuring any other committee to say that we have no choice but to act or make a motion or second. Chairman, legislation so again, maybe just a formal notice to all the oversight program that a lot of these should be coming forth. And I know, yes, it's the duty of me to read all these legislation as well. But of course, a lot of time it is, I'm in fault as well. Of not reviewing a lot of these document legislation that are on the 5-day comment period. In the after the 5-day comment period, that's for the public. Legislation I'm sure is for the good intent of this legislation, but I just formally request that each company, each entity have some form of formal report or review with the committee, rather than in a way pressuring or rush through a lot of these documents. ako ishidi kodon habakun nulis ade shnanta Mr. Elsosi and the CEO, but appreciate providing additional time last Friday. Kodo his objective do lab ben so basically na ako it and egi that are the shidi kodo saton hisnet to bonet zando business ako edi hot kodo shizero bahasido the chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Begay, honorable members of RDC. This legislation here will go to Nabikiyati and the full Navajo Nation Council. There's an existing agreement, operating agreement in place by the Navajo Nation and Navajo Oil and Gas. There's only 2 areas that's being requested through this legislation. Article 3.1, if you go down to page 1 of the article, page 4 of the article, it says primary term. The primary term of this agreement shall be 10 years from the effective date. What NOG is requesting is to change the 10 to 15 years. You go down to Article 3.2, production term, because this agreement shall continue in full force and effect for 22 years, because from the effective date provided there is hydrocarbon production and paying quantities from a drilling block or blocks. That number 22, they just want to amend it to 27. That's all this legislation is. So, any other comments or questions? Let me go back to Otto So, Chairman So.
Mr. Committee Chairman, members of Resources and Development Committee, Ado Adit, Honorable Kialan Beke, first of all, I believe about a good year, almost a year, Navajo Nation Oil and Gas has had a meeting with RDC in Albuquerque. We had this discussion pertaining to this wanting, it was still being formulated. Legislation was still being drafted, and so at the time, it was part of a report that was presented to the committee. I can clearly remember that this portion was RDC, add-on the legislation draft, it took about good 6-7 months to draft it, and it's been in legislative council. So I assume that you guys had the information already. Once that it took, like I said, it took 8 months, about 8 months to draft. Ledge Council, Department of Justice, and back to Minerals. So I did had entities of the Navajo Nation vet this amendment request through. Ledge Council about a week ago, went ahead and ran it through to the Navajo Oil and Gas, and that's when we decided to sponsor it. I did ask the at the meeting last Friday if there's additional sponsors, you guys can sign on, and I even extended that to all the shareholders. So far, I'm the only person that's as a sponsor of this legislation. The other is that back to the sponsorship. Like I said, I guess I wouldn't stuck my neck out to say I can run it, go run with the legislation. So but it's no way to I guess say that I'm disrespecting the committee for not allowing them to be a sponsor or anything. Then but this has been a working document for about a year. That's it. And I just would like to off of what I remember when this presentation happened. Around the chairman we are amending two portion within the current agreement. It was a new lease but this one is just amending the current lease into areas which Honorable Chairman McNair spoke to in the language change in the article of that agreement. So, Mr. Sosi and James, do you have anything to add on to the response?
Mr. El Sosi, you have the floor.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, proceed.
Okay, good, thank you. Certainly, Shananta, insofar as being able to communicate and to be transparent, we do truly believe in that. And I believe that for this particular legislation, it is like what our shareholder also did say, that we did present back in a year and a half ago in Albuquerque. Then that's when paperwork started getting to be established and worked on. So, and it came through the process. Now it's being presented. And for all others, we do honor your authority and then also want to definitely work together with Resource and Development Committee on all future legislations. Maybe what we can do is like what shareholder or committee member Herman Daniels did, is requesting a leadership meeting. Maybe through those type of a meeting, or that we can further educate the committee members on future legislations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. El Sosi. Honorable members of RDC, any other questions? Comments? This legislation will be going to come in before Navajo Committee as well as the full Navajo Nation Council. Mr. Mcclure as well as Mr. El Sosi and Chairman So. When this comes before council, there will ask a lot of questions. And when you get there, make sure that you are prepared. One of the concerns would probably be like the gas severance tax. Have you paid these? Have you paid your bills and everything to the Navajo Nation? And how are your financials? And just be prepared when those questions are asked. You don't have to answer my question at this point, at this time. So just to let you know this. Honorable members of RDC, any questions, comments? None? We'll go ahead and put it to a vote. Honorable Freeland, how do you vote, sir?
Green.
Honorable Stewart?
Green.
Honorable Begay?
Chairman Calvin votes green. Thank you.
Honorable Vice Chair Walker?
Chairman, I vote green.
Honorable Daniels?
Green.
We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting. Motion carries. Honorable Otto So.
Thank you very much, members of the Resources Development Committee for hearing this legislation. For your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman So, honorable members of the RDC Committee, we're on B now. Would like to schedule a San Juan County Roads Leadership meeting requested by Honorable Daniels. Honorable Daniels, could you explain?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Resources and Development Committee, San Juan County Commissioner Kenneth Maryboy. He reached out to me requesting for a leadership meeting. I see that he's national with the Navajo Division of Transportation, Mr. Garrett Silversmith, Bishko Lesnoco, out on RDC, so out of the San Juan County Commissioners, out of the San Juan County Administrator, Lennicky McDonald, for a leadership meeting, the Yoke pertaining to the San Juan County roads in Utah. I see from the Navajo Nation Division of Transportation, I see Mr. Chair, leadership meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Daniels. Honorable members of RDC, let's establish a motion and a second.
Motion, Stewart.
Honorable Stewart, thank you. Second by?
Freeland.
Honorable Freeland. Honorable Freeland, thank you. Ms. Begay has provided May 10th, 11th, and the 14th. 10, 11, and the 14th of May. The 10th is on a Monday. The 11th is on a Tuesday. The 14th is on a Friday. Honorable Daniels, how soon would you like this?
Mr. Chair, I think I go that is national what actually care so
okay,
as soon as possible. Mr. Chair, thank you.
Let's schedule it for Monday the 10th then. May 10th at 9 o'clock. Shabiga, Honorable Daniels.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'll be there.
Okay. I believe May 10th will work for all of us. The soonest that we have that's available. We'd like to. Any questions, Nanta?
Chairman Gallen.
Honorable Begay, go ahead.
Specific, maybe who are the specific that do a lot of time directors that done that last minute noticed on know that I didn't or staff that who are the specific that meeting requesting who are the main person that he would like to sit at the table beside the RDC member, Chairman.
Thank you for that. Good question. Honorable Daniels, from San Juan County Commissioners, Ado, BIA, they're always available. So Mr. Holliday would probably be there with his staff. Honorable Daniels, who would you like at the table to make sure that nobody sends a staff?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I think when we're going to have a leadership meeting, I know there's an agreement that was made between Navajo Nation Division of Transportation and also San Juan County. So those two INDOT Director and Lennigy, Mr. Silversmith, out in that BIA and also San Juan County Commissioners out on San Juan County Administrator Mag McDonald for Ideya Koda. I don't see Hito RDC Koda. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Begay, could you contact the people that are in charge of these departments, divisions, to make sure that they're present for this meeting on May 10th at 9 o'clock in the morning? Maybe Honorable Daniels or somebody can provide the information from the commissioners of San Juan County, Utah. In dot, we know Mr. Silversmith is always available to present to RDC, which we're glad for that. And he's always on there with his staff as well as BIA. Mr. Lester Sosi is always on there, as well as Dr. Curley and also Ms. Curley. So we just need the others. Ms. Begay.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, I do have the information down for the people from the Navajo Nation. However, I need information from Herman Daniels regarding the San Juan County Commissioner, the names of the individuals, and also I believe he's referring to one of the county officials that manages the road department. If I could get those information, their names and contact, that would be helpful, Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Okay, Honorable Daniels, could you provide that information to Ms. Begay? Thank you.
Mr. Chair, yeah, this is Daniels. I'll go ahead and forward all the information to her. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Honorable members of RDC, any other comments or questions on this? None. Honorable Freeland, how do you vote, sir?
Green.
Honorable Stewart?
Green.
Honorable Begay?
Chairman Keelan votes green. Thank you.
Honorable Vice Chair Walker?
Chair, I vote green.
Honorable Daniels?
Green.
We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting. Motion carries. We'll have it on May 10th at 9 o'clock. Thank you, Shananta.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
before you move on, can you give me the name of the motioning parties? The other thing is that I need to ask Shiaj Herman Daniels whether if that agreement was established by resources resolution or NABI resolution. That way I would be able to research that and see if we could find out a copy of the agreement.
Honorable Daniels?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll look for those documents and forward that to Shema. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And also, Ms. Begay, the motion was made by Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr., second by Honorable Mark Freeland. The vote was 5 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Herman Daniels.
Thank you. Number 8 on the agenda, conclusion of the committee meeting. Any other announcements?
Chairman Keelan.
Honorable Begay, you have the floor, sir.
Chairman, RDC members, other staff. I think last week, email forward to maybe just with the formal coordination with the Department of Justice and then the water rights unit. Maybe next month on that. I don't know if we needed to add this onto the agenda for formal meeting requests or schedule a date first, and then we can get a date, and then we can formally make that request because there's several areas I think that RDC needs to be one step ahead on a lot of these issues, because sometimes our committee members or the council ask questions on a lot of these areas that we oversee. There was a response back from DOJ to one of our colleagues regarding Navajo Nation losing water rights, Mcclure. But I guess it was more of inaccurate information being published in one of the newspaper article. That Heki Ado Water Rights Commissioner, how far they're at is as far as like the terms and how many times they have been meeting, and Ado all these other water rights. But on the Utah side, and then Arizona, on the New Mexico side, so what opportunities do we have in asking and to have a lot of these funding that could be included in these infrastructure bills that are being discussed? If not, so I know teleconference sometimes it's hard, and then yes, we try, and I do my best to dedicate my attention during our RDC meeting. Water rights overall report again. I like to request that we get a full report from the Department of Justice, the Water Rights Office, and then the Water Rights Commissioners. That affects all state, the New Mexico, Arizona, and then Utah. And how do we turn around and advocate for additional funding or resource or other areas that we need to be dealing with to continue advocate for water on the Navajo Nation. Though during this administration, water rights is just an opportunity with the current administration, with the current Interior Secretary, and then having more Democrats representing the Navajo Nation would be a good time to push some of these water right issue at Congress level, because a lot of these water rights has to be done through congressional bills at DC level. And then, of course, sometimes we have to be dealing with this other tribes and the state. So, Chairman, how in the month of May, give us sufficient time, but not just not in June, but sometimes in mid or late May. So, request Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Begay. What we will do is at our next May 5th RDC meeting, place it on the agenda for approval and meet with the Department of Justice, the Navajo Nation Water Rights Unit, as well as the Navajo Nation Water Rights Commissioners, and have a formal meeting with Resources and Development Committee. And Ms. Begay, if you would add that onto the agenda for approval, we can do that and schedule it next Wednesday.
Mr. Chair, and I took notes of that. I just sent a text message to the Water Rights Commissioner staff and asking for when they will be available to meet with RDC for an update. The other thing that we need to be aware of is that any and all water rights discussion needs to be held in executive session because of confidential and privileged information that the attorneys and the commissioners will be sharing with the committee. So just be aware of that. Once I get a date from the Water Rights Commissioner staff, I will add it on the agenda for May 5th for the committee to approve such scheduling. Mr. Chair, back to you.
Thank you. A very good recommendation to have an executive session with the Department of Justice, the Water Rights Unit, and the Water Rights Commissioner. So we'll take care of that at that time, but put it on the agenda for May 5th. Thank you. Honorable members of RDC, any other announcements? None. Motion to adjourn. We have Nabagia work session at 10 o'clock. Honorable Freeland, thank you. Second by
Stewart.
Honorable Stewart. Any questions, comments on the agenda? None. Honorable Freeland, how do you vote?
Green.
How do you vote? Honorable Freeland?
Green, Chairman.
Okay. Honorable Stewart?
Green.
Honorable Begay?
Chairman Kialowitz Green, thank you.
Honorable Vice Chair Walker?
Chairman, I vote green.
Honorable Daniels?
Green.
We have a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting. It is now 10:06 a.m. and we are adjourned. And thank you very much, all those that are on the call today. Be safe out there and may God bless. Thank you.